This video is going to be for pattern number 6. And this one's kind of cool because we have a couple of different shades of gray we're going to try to achieve with it. So that might give us some extra control in Painter eventually. But I think for this guy, since it's kind of an interesting sort of symmetrical pattern on both sides, we're going to use some mirroring to get this one to work. So kind of looking at this guy, what I'm seeing are we have some type of a rectangular shape, sort of some half circles that kind of overlap with it on both sides. And then there's also like a cutout effect where the circle sort of eats into the top and the bottom of that rectangular part. We'll see if we can get this guy working. So I'm in a new scene, or a new designer graph. This is pattern 6. Let's just get some basic shapes down first. So got a shape, square. Let's kind of get that size built out properly. So I'm going to bring in the X a little more. Let's bring down the Y so I can kind of not have it hit the border. Okay, might be a little narrower than that. Something like this. Okay, now what we're going to do is get these circles lined up. So we're going to do another shape. Let's move this above it. And we're going to do disk. Let's just scale that down quite a bit, like 0.5. And I'm going to take this guy and move it over to one side, kind of like this, because I'm shifting it. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because if I now, after the transform, make a mirror grayscale, okay, I can then blend this with the other guy. So let's take that shape, blend it into it. Let's do a max. So we're going to combine the whites. Okay, not too bad. I think this is a little too big at the moment. So I'm going to go back to my original shape. Let's bring this down. Something right about there. And if I go to the transform, you can see how, because it's being mirrored, I can kind of offset it to figure out how far I want that to kind of stick out. And I don't want to go beyond the point where it's curved, so I'll probably put it right about there. Looks pretty good. Yeah, that's probably close enough. Now I also need to try to cut out the top. Now we're going to make this little indent right here for that top part. So I think we can kind of do this with the same thing. Let's try this out. Maybe even this guy is going to work. I'm not too sure. Let's do a blend. I'm going to take the mirrored version. And I actually don't know if this is going to do what I want it to do, but we're just going to have fun trying it out. So I'm going to take this guy. We're going to transform it so I can move it up. And I just want to test what this looks like if I subtract this guy from that shape. So this is now removing information. Okay, let's move that up. Oh yeah, we're close. No, don't worry about the bottom. We'll fix that in a second. I'm just looking at the top. How close are we? That's pretty good. I think we need to go up just a little bit. And I think the spacing isn't going to work on this. Let me see. Yeah, let's try doing this kind of a different way. Not too crazy about how that's turning out. Not a big deal. All right, let's back up. Okay, instead what I'm going to do is we're going to take this same starting shape, so I have a little more control, so I'm not relying on this thing to work. Let's do a transform, just so I can kind of move it around wherever I want. And then we are going to do a mirror, a separate one. And I'm going to move it kind of up here a little bit in the corner because I want you to kind of see what's going to happen. So see how the mirror by default is a horizontal mirror? Let's do mirror corner. Now this is a horizontal and vertical. And I think I'm going to have to scale this. We're going to come back to that in a second. But let's bring that down. I'm just going to move this forward a little bit because what I want to have in here somewhere is another transform before this. That way I can scale this shape down just in case it feels like I can't quite get this to work. All right, let's connect it. And let's do subtract one more time. All right, this guy, I can then, let's go to the transform, let's move him up. Okay, move it in. So I'm just kind of playing around the position. I think what my problem is that this guy might not be tall enough. Let me kind of revisit this thing and play with the Y. I think that was it the whole time. So my cube was kind of getting cut off because I brought down the Y size on it. It was kind of creating a flat spot. That looks pretty accurate right now. All right, I think we've got our shape. Now the tiling is a little tricky. There's a lot of these guys in here. So let's just try to count this real quick. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 8 across, 12 up and down. Tile generator. Okay, this is going to go into the image input. Okay, so that should be right. 8 by 12. And I need to offset them again. We've done this a few times in some of the other videos, but let's kind of come down here to offset. Okay, this is vertical. So I'm going to do about 0.5. Or sorry, it's not vertical, this is horizontal offset, but this is totally going to work. So right about there is pretty good. Scale is going to have to come up. So we're going to boost this. Let me just double check this one more time, make sure this is working. Yep, that does seem correct. I need to scale it vertically. It's this guy, so I need to go negative. Let's type in negative 0.5. Oh, that's actually pretty close. Now from here, it's just refining it, because you can kind of see, I think based on my shape, I don't quite have the circles in the right spot. It looks a little weird. So let me go back to, let's see, my problem would be, I think it's this guy right here. Actually, that guy's probably okay. I think, I take it back, I think it's this cutting shape I'm doing on the top. Okay, so that would be this. I'm going to go to transform. I'm just kind of, I know I'm not seeing it, like I'm not looking at this node, I'm looking at the result, but I'm just clicking on the 2D view and kind of moving it around, trying to get a feel for how that's affecting the curvature. I might need to do the interstice X on the tile generator to kind of nudge this guy in the right position. Yeah, let me try going negative on this guy and see if that does anything for me. Okay, I need to keep tweaking these guys just a little bit here. Let me check this out one more time. And it could be something to do with where they have to scale one of those circles in a little bit, like almost like elongated a little bit. Because one thing that could be happening is this might not be a completely spherical shape. So it might be something where I have to scale that in one direction. Yeah, let me try scaling that shape down a little bit vertically. So you can, this is really where we're just in that tweaking stage. Bring that guy in just a little bit. I'm gonna think move, actually that is a lot better already. And then let's go back to the position of this guy and see if I can just move it up. And I need to elongate this little shape one more time because I think I'm still getting it cut off at some point. That's closer. We're almost there. I'm not going to keep tweaking this because I think you guys kind of get the idea. We're just going to keep moving forward. So after a little finessing, we end up with something that kind of looks like this. It tiles pretty close. Now, the big issue here with this one is that when you look at it, you'll notice most of these are gray, and there's a bunch of them that are white. So to do this, what we're actually going to do is have this be our gray, darker tile. So after the tile generator, let's do a levels, and then we're going to drop down, this is gain, which is this bottom right white slider, to about 50%. All right, so I have these guys pretty close. Now after that, what I want to do is figure out how do I get these sort of random selections of the brighter ones. I'm going to click on the tile generator, duplicate it, and I would, by the way, only do this after you are like 100% good with that tile generator or fixing the shapes. So just in case like you end up messing something up with the tile generator, you don't want to be going between two of these guys to keep all the shapes kind of together. So this is going to be one of the last things you do. But on this guy, I'm going to try to get it to generate only kind of every other one horizontally and then skip rows vertically. Down at the bottom of the tile generator, there's a bunch of different ways to do this, and it just takes a little kind of trial and error. But if we do a vertical, you can see that's diagonal. There's horizontal, so that's one of them. Let me see if that's it. Is it checker? Checker by itself, it's because they're offset, but usually checker looks like a checker pattern, but because they're staggered, it's kind of doing a slightly different effect. This might have been the one I wanted. Oh, yeah, that actually is it. So in this case right here, it's a checker mask and horizontal mask. It's just basically removing all of them except for these particular ones. Now the reason I'm doing that is because now, if I were to blend these together, like take this, that guy, and pick max, you'll notice how it takes the lighter value out of the two, which is putting that white color over some of those other ones. So there we go. I think we've got a pretty close match. Still not 100% sold on the shape. I have a couple issues I need to kind of work out with that guy, where that kind of gap is changing a little bit. But if you spend about another 5-10 minutes on it, tweaking some of the shapes and the some of the values on the tile generator, I'm pretty confident you're going to get this guy pretty close.